Good morning. So, it's morning. So, I just wanted to tell you guys what's happened in the last 24 hours. Okay. I woke up this morning in a full-on love fest with the universe. Like, I pay a lot of attention to what I'm thinking of before I go to bed and when I first wake up, because I've learned that is when, like, your conscious thoughts stop and your connection to God is the strongest. And of course, sleep is like pure connection, but I don't remember my dreams. So good morning. I don't remember my dreams, so I don't know, like, that's not how I get messages as to what I should be doing or doing next or doing it all or not doing. But during my day, I get a lot, especially in the morning, I get a lot of impulses, like inspiration, like, hey, do this, do that, do this. And they don't make sense to me for several days, but I do them anyway. Like, if I can, I'll do them as soon as I get them. If not, I'll put a sticky note in my binder to remind me to do it. And I have to be very detailed, because sometimes it's like, create this printable, and if I'm not able to do it by the time I see it, I am not going to remember what the heck it means or is or whatever. So before bed, and when I very first wake up, before bed is more up to me, because usually I'm tired, but I need to put, like, you know how they say, like, food for thought or whatever. Like, I need to set an intention for how my vibrations go or what I think of while I'm asleep. So, like, if there's a problem or a question that you have in your life that you would like to kind of have inspiration for an answer to, you can, before going to bed, in your prayers, if you pray like that, and not too long, like, nobody needs to, you're not speaking for God or anything, but nobody needs to hear you go on it, ever and ever and ever. I used to pray forever and ever and ever, and I pray all this dramatic prayer, and it's like, as I got older, I'm like, nobody wants to hear all that. Like, just, dear universe, dear Jesus, dear God, dear source, whatever you call it, I really want to know what I should do about X. And just be yourself, because there's no hiding your true self from source energy anyway. So may as well, leave out the big words, the these and the thous, that doesn't help anyone. So before bed, I'll just give a little one-liner sometimes. I've been using my laser focused vision journal, so I'll write down things from the perspective of the future that I'm hoping for, or that sounds kind of desperate to say I'm hoping for it. Not that I'm hoping for it, but I believe that's in my vortex. So I'll write down from that perspective, and then I'll go to bed. And first thing in the morning, I tend to get an inspired thought, like, oh, you know what, this is how, because I'm usually pretty tired at the end of the day. So if there's a problem, I can't solve it anyway. I can't solve it. But first thing in the morning, it's like, oh, that's easy, just do this. And I'm like, oh, that's great, thank you. I'm so happy that the question was answered. So last night, I went to bed, and I was feeling more hopeful, because I did that. I don't know if you saw my stories, but I did, like, this focus wheel. I don't know if it's truly the way that it's supposed to be done, because I haven't seen one. But from the way that Esther describes it, I listen to Abraham Hicks all the time. And the way that Esther describes this focus wheel that she does is she takes, she puts a circle in the middle, and she puts in a word that she wants to explore, like the word fun. She wants to explore the word fun. So she puts a word in the middle, and she just spends some time on a blank piece of paper randomly writing words that pop into her head that remind her of fun. What does fun feel like? What does fun mean? And you end up, if you do this long enough, you end up because you're focusing so much on that, you don't focus on whatever was bothering you. At least that's how I was using it yesterday. I am kind of knee deep into this situation with work that I'm not like happy about. I mean, no one will be happy about it, but I'm trying to find a deeper meaning of it because I know that there's a deeper meaning for it. Because everything has a meaning. Like nothing in this world, nothing in the universe is for waste. Like no experience, no person that you meet, no person you encounter is just for no good reason at all. Like nothing's a coincidence, nothing is for no good reason at all. So I know that because I'm in this experience, and it started like several years ago and it's still going on, and I know that because I'm in this experience, there's something that I'm supposed to pull out of it. Like either I'm supposed to learn something, or I'm supposed to help somebody, I'm supposed to teach somebody or something. There's a meaning for it. It's not just like, here you are, here's a horrible situation, good luck. So I try to pull out the meaning to it. But I felt like I was done with that. Like I wrote in my laser focus vision journal all weekend, like, I'm so happy that today is the end of this horrible situation and it's done. This is great. And then yesterday it was not done. And I initially felt like, okay, well, I'm still learning stuff and this is great. So I'm still going to learn. And I got a chance to talk to some of the other people who were involved in the situation about my business. And I got to tell them about the budget diary. And there was one lady there who was super interested in, she has teenagers, and she's like, how do I help them pay for college? And how do I help them, find careers that they love? And we had this just wonderful conversation. It was so edifying. And that was great. But, after basking in the deliciousness of that idea that happened to me, that started to kind of wear off, and I started to feel really disappointed. Really, really disappointed that I still had to deal with this situation like even longer than I was hoping. So by the end of the night, I was very tired, mentally tired, drained, and then my kids were not cleaning up. They were just basically not even listening to me when I asked them to clean up. And I was really frustrated. I was so sleepy and just wanted to go to bed. And all the kids were like so excited and wanted to be up and about. And I was just like, oh, when are we going to be able to go to bed? So I started doing the focus wheel because I could feel that I was going in a negative direction. And I could feel that like my vibrations are going to get low. And if my vibrations get low, bad things happen. And I know that sounds crazy, like magical thinking, but I really do feel, because I've seen it happen where I'm focusing on good things and all I see around me are good things. I'm meeting awesome people. I'm having wonderful experiences. People like you are actually watching, me on Instagram Live ramble about things. And so I know that when I feel good, good things happen. And I know that when I feel bad, or I start to dip down and start to feel bad, bad things start to happen. And I can see the bad things that are happening around me, and I feel bad. So when I catch that happening, I'm like, no. Like I need to stop it in its tracks. And so I did the focus wheel. I put bravery in the middle because I was feeling not brave. And I was feeling like I just wanted to have someone just come and help me and just take it all away, which is not going to happen. So I put bravery in the middle, and I just wrote out all the words and all the thoughts that came to mind when I thought about myself being brave. And you can see it in my stories. I'll show it. I'll make a picture of it. Oh, that's so nice of you to say. My favorite thing in the morning. Mine too, actually, because I talk to myself when I'm driving, and I was like, let me turn on the camera and talk to whoever might want to listen. That's so nice to say. I'm going to cry. I'm not going to cry. Okay. So anyway, I made this focus wheel. Back to focus to make me feel better. I made this focus wheel, and it was on my refrigerator, and I just started writing all these words. And if you do this, the one thing I would tell you to do is to say it out loud. Like as you go, when you write bravery, strength, courage, write it, but also say it out loud. And so I did it, and I wrote it, I said it out loud, then I went back and said everything out loud and added 2 or 3 more things on there, because the whole point is to immerse yourself in this exercise. And don't write negative things. Don't write like, fear or whatever like that. Like, it's all positive. It's all like what your best example of your life as a brave person would be. And keep doing it until you feel better. Just keep doing it. And so I did until I ran out of words, and I kept doing it by reading it over and over and over again. And then I posted it in my stories, because Michelle and Amy say, just show people what you're doing right now. And I figured if I showed people my focus wheel, then they could understand that there are options, things that you can do when you feel less than excited, less than strong, less than happy, instead of like coming on and seeing on social media like, oh, Fran is always upbeat and happy and everything's going great. Well, I would hope so, but what happens actually is that life happens, and I start to dip down, and I pull myself back up before I dip down too far. I spent my first 4 decades, I don't know how long, the entire first part of my life, sad, depressed, and spiraling down all the time. I can spiral better than anybody. You give me one, and that's what started to happen yesterday. One thing happened. I was disappointed, right? It started with disappointment, and I spiraled all the way down to nobody loves me. Like, I just started to spiral, and that's the story. Our brain can trick us, and you give it an inch, it takes a mile. You start with, I'm disappointed that this thing happened, and then you end up with, oh, this thing always happens. You know why? Because this kind of thing happens to people like you. And you know why? Because you're this kind of person. And you know what? Nobody loves you because you're this kind of person. And you know what? Nobody's going to love you, and blah, 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 blah. And you start to spiral down. So I spiraled all the way down to nobody loves me. That's a pretty good long spiral before I could pull myself back up. Abraham Hicks talks about the fact that when you get into that, that's momentum. That's momentum in the wrong direction. You start spiraling that way, it's hard to really pull yourself up, which made me think to do a focus wheel, because I knew that I was going to a dangerous territory. My brain was deceiving me to the point where it was taking me down the path that was going to end up with bad things happening, like a leaky roof or some horrible car trouble or something crazy happening. And I was like, no, this is momentum, so let me steal some momentum in the other direction by making this focus wheel going in the right direction. So it was fairly late at night. It was about 10 o'clock, and I was really tired. I made it, and I went to bed. Got the kids all ready. Maybe it was like 9 o'clock. Got the kids all ready. We went to bed. I went to bed listening to a meditation that I don't even remember finishing. So apparently I went to sleep in the middle of it. And I woke up this morning, and my very first thought was, I love myself. I love myself. That was my first thought this morning. And I always now, because I don't remember my dreams, I pay very close attention to what my first thought is when I wake up in the morning. Before life can creep in, like, you pick up your smartphone and you check to see what the SOS Club girls are doing. You check to see what's happened on Instagram since you last left off, because a lot of your friends are on the other side of the earth, and their day is your night and your night is their day. So I like to wake up and see, what Janice is doing, and see, what's happened in the UK with Chisomo and Kim and Amy, and what's happened, in Australia, and all the girls. I like to see what's going on with all the girls. So that's usually what I pick up my phone, I check and see what the girls are doing, and then I turn on Abraham Hicks and I start getting ready. Before all of that, before my feet hit the floor, what is my first thought? So today my first thought was, I love myself. I grabbed my laser focused vision journal because it's by my bed. So how I use it is before going to bed, I write down something from the point of view of the future. So say it's Fran of 2024, I talk about what's going on with me now and what I'm thankful for. It all starts with I'm grateful, I'm thankful, or I'm so happy that. And first thing in the morning, I grab it, I turn the page, and I put, like today is 6:11 a.m. June 11th a.m. and I write down you know, I'm thankful, I'm grateful, I'm so happy that, you know, whatever from the future, you know, like I'm grateful, you know, I'm so grateful that my kids are, you know, going to good colleges, you know, that kind of thing. Like, you talk about it from the future. This morning I deviated from that a little bit because I was having this thought about, you know, I love myself. And so what happened was I went to bed trying not to spiral into nobody loves me, because what I really wanted after this disappointing news that I got, and after I felt brave about it and then started to feel not so brave and not so strong and very sad, I really wanted to sob dramatically. Like, I used to be a drama queen, seriously. Like, now I've gotten myself together to where I'm like more rational, but that's only been in like the last 2 years. Like, I used to be a full-on drama queen, and for attention and for love, and just because, you know, I believe nobody loved me. So I really wanted to, just about this situation that was so disappointing, I just wanted to sob dramatically on somebody's shoulder. Like, that's all. I just wanted to cry and cry and cry and cry. Cry, like rolling around on the floor crying. But I didn't, because I am a strong woman. Like, I can't fall apart right now. It's just me with my twins, you know. I can't fall apart. Like, I don't have the luxury of time standing still, so I can fall apart and have a little meltdown quickly and then get everything back together. Like, I have to mentally remain strong at least for another year until my husband gets out of school and I can have some help, you know, parenting, and have some help. I can be the girl again, you know, and I can not have to work so hard and not have to take care of the kids so hard. So I have in my mind, as I was spiraling down, I was like, I have no shoulder to dramatically sob upon. Like, I don't have that, because for one thing, I was like, because nobody loves me, you know. And it's irrational. Depression is irrational. Depression is completely irrational. There's no, when you talk to a depressed person about why they're depressed, it's a chain of events and thoughts and perceptions that do not make sense with each other. Where you get from A to B to C to D, it doesn't even make sense. And that's part of the disease. And that's why talking it out helps. When you bring all that to light, if you have a good therapist or a good person, a good friend, a good whatever, that person can help to guide you into the knowledge that these thoughts are not rational and they're not your reality. But alas, I just had 3-year-old twins there with me, and I couldn't actually burden them. I would never burden them with any sort of my issues. So I was not going to cry in front of my kids, and I didn't feel like I had any shoulder to cry on. Now, I talked to my mom. I told her in detail everything that happened throughout the day, but I did not feel like crying, because I also, you know, I don't want to burden anyone with my weaknesses. I don't want to feel like I have weaknesses. And so I cried a little bit in my car to get it together so I can go in there and get my kids and yada yada yada. So it helped to talk out what was happening, but I didn't talk about how I felt about what was happening. So I just really wanted to cry on somebody's shoulder. So I texted my husband and I told him, I said, you know what? I really feel sad right now. Like, I feel disappointed, and I would love to just cry dramatically on somebody's shoulder. And he texted me back, I wish I was there so I could keep the kids for you so that you could have some time alone. And to me, that was so fundamentally different than what I was asking for. And I think that may have been when I started to spiral down into the nobody loves me cycle, because it was like, I'm not asking to be alone. Like, I'm not even asking to be apart from the kids. I'm just asking to not have to not be alone, to not like have to carry this, bear this weight on my own. Like, that's what I think I'm asking for. But he's a man, so, you know, he didn't quite get that, and that was okay. But I pulled myself back out of the ditch with my focus wheel, and it was great. And when I first woke up this morning, my very first thought was, I love myself. And I felt like the universe was giving me, like Jen Sincero says, the biggest gorilla hug. Like, the universe was giving me this huge bear hug and saying, you are freaking fantastic, and I am backflips, crazy, head over heels in love with you. And it does not matter if you can sense or detect or have evidence of anyone else's love on this planet, because most of the time when you can sense and detect and feel anyone else's love, it's because of something that's artificial, not something that's true anyway. And that's always fickle. It can always change. People can love you one minute and not love you the next, and that goes for anybody. It doesn't matter if they're your spouse or if they're your parent. They can love you and not love you, because parents have issues too. We always think that your parents are going to love you unconditional. Some people's parents have substance abuse issues, and they love their substance abuse more than they love their kids. So you can't tell people, hey, your mom is always going to love you, your dad is always going to love you. That is not true. My mom is very supportive, but my dad has never, ever, 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 ever been there in my life, not one single day. And I can tell you that, I had to run a yellow light, which I hate to do. And the car behind me did too. That's crazy. Don't you hate it when that happens? Anyway, you know, people may love you, but I think the message that I got this morning is, so what if nobody loves you? You know, they will love you, but so what if you can't feel that they do? Because you know what? God loves you. Source loves. I have to say all the words for God, because when I say the word God, I think about all the mean people that I've encountered in church. And I'm like, I don't want you to be triggered by the word God, because sometimes I am myself. I call God Ocean. I call him Ocean. I call him Sophie, which is short for philosophy, and source energy, and the universe, all these things, because they make me feel happy. Sophie is the word I came up on my own, and it fits so well and just makes me feel happy, and nobody knows who I'm talking about. So I feel this overwhelming sense of love from the universe that says, I am wrapping you up in rainbows. Like, that's how I felt. Like, I was laying in bed and I was just being wrapped around and around and around with rainbows. I am wrapping you up with rainbows. And these rainbows, they smell like strawberries, and they feel like kitten's fur. Like, it's soft and it's warm and comfy, and it smells delicious, and it's a beautiful, colorful rainbow. I'm wrapping you from your head to your toes, from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. I am wrapping you in rainbows, because I want you to wake up and know that it does not matter if nobody on this green earth cares a flying foot about you. I love you. I love the way you think. I love the way you talk. I love the way you walk. I love the way you act. I love the way you write. I love the way you sing. I love the way you laugh. I love you. I love everything about you. There's nothing that you could do that could separate yourself from the love that I have for you. And all that I had laying in bed in that split second, all that I had was love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, goodness, faithfulness, self-control, all the fruits of the Spirit. They just like poured out on me. And I was just laying there like, yeah. And I grabbed my laser focused vision journal, and instead of writing, I'm grateful that, I'm so happy that, I'm thankful that, I wrote that I just told you. I wrote that I love myself. I love this. I wrote everything that I love about myself. I love me from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. I love everything about me. And in the bottom, I wrote that people love me. People love me. People love me because I'm lovable. That's what I wrote. People love me because I'm lovable. And even if they don't, it doesn't matter, because God loves me. And so that doesn't take away the disappointment from what happened yesterday. But darn it, that's a breakthrough for me. And that might be part of this journey, part of why this horrible thing is happening, is for me to have a different way of experiencing. There are like two words that I cannot say ever. One is unexpectedly. I cannot say that, and I can't say experiencing. I don't know, whatever. I can spell, but I can't talk, apparently. My tongue doesn't work that way. But part of this horrible situation, because bad situations don't happen to you for you to experience a bad situation. Like, a bad situation will happen so that you can grow into a different person. And I get that. Like, I get that I'm having this bad situation because through it, I will learn some things about myself that will help me be the next best version of myself. So I welcome it. I welcome this bad situation, but I thought it would be over yesterday. And it wasn't. And so that's okay, because this morning I learned this other thing about myself that's going to help me walk into the next part of my day. And I'm recording it because hopefully it'll help someone else walk into their next, day or two or whatever, and say, like, you know what, that's true. Like, something that I said resonates with you, and I hope that it helps you also feel like how much love you have, like, regardless of if anybody else loves you or not. Who cares? Because you love yourself. That's the most important thing. And it was a journey just getting to that point, because I do the Lisa Nichols exercise. I have the 4 post-it notes on my bathroom mirror, and one of them, you have to say your name first. So it says, Fran, I forgive you for. And so I see that post-it note, and I have to say out loud, 3 things that I forgive myself for. And Fran, I'm proud of you that. 3 things I'm proud of myself for. Fran, I commit to you. And 3 things that I promise myself. I don't make them unrealistic. And then the last one is 10 things I'm grateful for. And I may not always get to 10, but you could definitely get to 10, because they're just small things. Like, you don't have to, it doesn't, I'm grateful that my electric toothbrush is working today. Like, it doesn't have to be anything huge. At any given moment, you can come up with 3. Like, I'm grateful that my phone is fully charged. I'm grateful that someone is watching my live. I'm grateful that my car is taking me to work. And there's a 4th thing. I'm grateful that I'm not too late. I'm a little bit late, but I'm not too late. So there's always something to be grateful for. And when you do this every single day, you do it in the morning, you do it at night, you do it every single day, you start to you do change your perspective about how you love yourself. And the first time you do it, you may cry because things come up that you didn't expect. And if you look into your mirror and look directly into your eyes and say, I love you, that's a big, yeah. Just try it and you'll see. There are no words for what happens to you. You're not an accident, and everything that's happening to you is for a reason. Even if it feels like crap, it's happening to you for a reason. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you can start to figure out what the reason is, and the sooner that you will stop having the same experiences over and over again. You'll stop dating the same people over and over again. It's like, okay, this guy is just like the last guy. He has the same issues the last guy had. Well, you didn't learn the lesson the first time. Here you are again. I kept getting bully bosses forever. At first, when I was in high school, I'd have like bully best friends. Like, my friends were really like abusive. And then when I got into the workforce, I started having like bosses that were the same personality type. And I'm like, why are all these people? But really, it was me. I was attracting these kind of people because I expected that that's what would happen. And I thought these were the kind of people, Anyway, that's a whole other live show. But that's pretty much why I really came on to talk to you about feeling your way through life and like following your feelings. But that's not the direction this went into. So instead, it's about loving yourself, and that sounds cliche, and that doesn't happen overnight, and it's not just something like, I love myself. No, it's something that you have to feel from source energy telling you that, look, I created you. Not even your mother understands the love that I have for you. I created you. You are an extension of me. And there is no place that you could go to get away from this big old giant bear hug that I'm going to give you right now. All these rainbows and unicorns and all this crazy stuff that everybody thinks is crazy. I'm going to do that right now because you need a hug and you want to sob uncontrollably and dramatically on somebody's shoulder, and I'm here for you. Yeah. So that is what happened to me in the last 24 hours. I am about to go into work, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye. This will be on my blog.